And we're at it again. It's June's first Monday. Monday, June 5th, 2023. We are ILT. Good morning,
yes,
guys.
we are. Yes, we are. Good morning to everybody. It is the first Monday. Yeah, James, thanks for putting that into perspective.
I know, right?
You know?
When he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, it is the first Monday.
Yeah, and it's the first show. Is it the first show?
In June? No. We had one on Friday, right? Friday was the second.
Friday was the second.
Thursday was the first. Yeah, so we've had two shows.
Yes. You know, we have to keep track of the days.
I can't anymore.
I know, and I know a lot of persons probably can't keep track either. They're going by so quickly.
Yeah, they really are.
In the flash of in the flash of an eye, we are already halfway through the year.
Yeah.
It's already June. It's Gemini season, and yes, it's Gemini season this time. Let's give the Gemini some love and appreciation.
I'm trying to. Sharon is Gemini.
Sharon is Gemini.
Okay, Sharon.
Yes.
Take the whole month of Sharon.
And you see, James in there just don't care at all. He just because he doesn't even celebrate his birthday, so he's just there moving as if everything is a thing.
Take the month, Sharon. We're gonna kick out the other Geminis.
I can't believe
It's not that I don't celebrate my birthday. I just think I think sometimes we do too much.
No.
There is
I'm not really about
There's nothing like too much when it comes to my birthday. Let me tell
because
you.
we have to give thanks for life. You know,
The
there's
day
so
that I
many
came into this
things.
world, hello.
A prayer will suffice.
Several prayers. Why stop at
I
one?
thank you, prayer.
Why
on
not?
your
stop
birthday.
at one?
Why not a whole
A whole
Thanksgiving?
service.
A Thanksgiving service.
I'm with him there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And you
I
know,
don't play with my birthday.
you as a budding politician, I wouldn't be surprised if you make a whole week. I make a whole week a holiday.
And hire us to do the decor
For your birthday,
and planning.
yeah?
Yeah.
And you know, I will hire you
Sounds
as a
like a
DJ
plan.
then the jam star. You know?
You got a night gig for a whole week.
Good
guys.
idea. But you know,
guys.
guys, it's some positive energy. It's good to have a little laugh in the studio. You know, a little like moment. And of course, we have to have our positive quotes. What do we call it, Candy?
Positivity.
Yeah,
Let's have some.
it's a quote from you or me.
All right?
You know.
He's rhyming this morning.
Yes. So
do you have
this
today?
one is from Maya Angelou, and she says,
Should be good.
"If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude." So
Fair
if
enough.
you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. And so I want to encourage persons out there. You know, there might be things that we don't like. If we have the power to change it, let's change it. And if you can't, let's see how we could change our attitude to either accept it or work with it.
Or ignore it.
Or ignore it. Yes.
Change your attitude towards it. Fair enough. I like that.
Yeah. Wonder how the callers think about this quote, you
I
know?
know, right?
The late Maya Angelou, you know? I love her poem when she says, you know, still I rise.
Still I rise.
Still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I rise. Yes.
Nice. We are having a morning.
I was just thinking about you remember that young poet that Gorman, what's her first name?
Yes, Amanda. Is that
Amanda, yeah. And you know
Yep.
the Satan up in
I know. Oh my gosh. I love the way you called it. Because I call him something else. It's not air friendly.
The sanctimonious, you mean?
No.
Okay.
It's not air friendly.
Okay. So he, you know, among other kind of dodgy
He's been doing say it. He's been doing a lot
stuff.
of crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
He wants to he's asking his Department of Education
to ban the poem.
to ban the poem.
Along with a whole bunch of
And
other
a
books
whole
and
bunch
Disney
of other
movies.
a whole bunch of other nonsense.
Yeah, and this is somebody that's running for president. What is going on with the U.S.?
Yeah.
Because you remember the reason I thought of it, because you remember Maya Angelou
Yes.
was the poet that did that great poem at I think it was Bill Clinton's
Yes.
Inauguration.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amanda did the one for Biden. Powerful young lady.
Yes.
Of course,
Oh,
the
yes.
poem would not sit well with a racist. Of course.
Yes. But do you think he's even going to have a chance in the presidential
course.
election?
He's running on the Republican Party. Well, anything is possible. I mean, they had Trump.
Did you guys watch the town hall last night?
Unfortunately,
hall?
I didn't.
With Nimrata Haley.
No, I didn't.
Oh gosh,
I was engaged.
I didn't. Remember, he had like
Yes.
a busy weekend.
I was
But I just got like a
reflecting
CNN update.
and re-engaged to revitalize.
She was pretty.
you know.
You had a
I
busy
must say,
weekend.
I
Yes.
must say, I was grudgingly impressed
I didn't
in the
look
sense
at
that
it.
she's very polished, and I mean, she was a
Is
former
she?
governor, right?
Yes.
And
So
UN
kinda-
ambassador.
And UN ambassador. She's very polished, and
You know, I'm
And-
looking
and-
forward
but-
at the slate of the perspectives.
yeah. Well, we have a bunch of people announcing today.
I think Mike Pence is actually running.
announcing. These might be announced either today or tomorrow. And then
Why
the
is
other
Mike
people.
Pence, Joe Biden, Trump, and DeSantis running? Why? Tell me why those persons are running. First of all, Joe, you give it your best shot. I don't want to sound ageist, but yeah, sit this one out, please. Thank you. Come on.
No, but
And then Trump has no calling going back there. None.
yeah.
This should be a very interesting
To say the least.
election. In fact, I think the choice for the Republican perhaps will be the most interesting.
Yes.
Perhaps even more
Yes,
interesting
yes.
than
The Democrats.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Democrats are usually level-headed, right? The Republicans just
What
they
what I
don't
found
care.
what I found about Haley last night was that while she's polished and she delivers her, let's say her political persona with aplomb, right? There were a lot of glaring dodges,
Thank you.
you know, in terms of certain things she was asked, and she would just dodge the question.
But it's not only that.
know?
She went in with a whole bunch of biases. And what turned me off? You're a woman in politics. You already know that what they're going to do is tear you apart, exactly what they did to Hillary. So is it that she went in on the offensive? Because soon as she stepped her foot into the ring, she started sharing licks out to Joe Biden, talking about his age and everything else. I'm like, no, Nikki, this is not what we want from you. Because generally speaking, I'm like, okay, fine, another one in the race, let's see what she's going to bring to the table, because Kamala is the only other person there. And then you go in and you start showing punches so early. Like, come on.
You can tell CNN and HBO are owned by the same company because I don't know if you watch Succession. You know Succession, right? And the season ended last week, so I was thinking, well, it's a good thing the season ended last week because then I could turn my attention to the town hall last night, right?
Sorry.
Because other than that, I probably would have gone to watch Succession.
Oh gosh,
And
but
then,
I've never actually looked at Succession.
You never watched it? It's
No.
it's loosely based on Rupert Murdoch and Fox. And his kids jockeying for Succession,
Serious.
basically.
Yeah.
Rupert
But
is
you
another
know,
drama.
I
But
just-
I was kind of like looking for stuff on your convention, and then people kept messaging me saying, "Have you heard anything from the convention?" I was like, "Why do they think I have an inside?" I don't.
And
So
I
how was
realized
that?
James even mentioned that could have been a possible
Distraction,
view.
right?
Yeah.
You mean the Pam?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but then no.
You
the
say you
thing-
were talking
the-
about Successions.
No, Succession is 8:00.
Okay.
It's 8:00. or 9:00.
Okay.
Yeah, 9:00, something like that.
Okay.
At 3:00, I was gonna message him, and I was like, "No, he's caught up with his thing."
Yeah.
So
Back on.
let me message
Yeah.
him after.
Well, the season
When did it finish?
its series is ended anyway.
Oh. Okay. So now you could go and look at the convention. It's on YouTube and Facebook.
I'm surprised you didn't spam us with links.
You know, I should. I really should after the
After
show.
people
so
kept
was it-
asking me, I just went on your profile
So-
and
so
I was
was
like,
it-
here's the link, here's the link.
So was it well attended?
Yes, it was. We had over 300 persons just looking. Could be more. Also, we started a little after 3:30. We ended a little after 6. We had the guest speaker, the Honorable Robert Morgan, out from Jamaica. He's the Minister of Information, and he delivered a very timely message. He was speaking for about 32 minutes, but it felt
I need
as
to
though
go look at it. Okay.
it
Wow.
felt as though he was just there for 5 minutes because you were able to digest, you were able to intake what he said.
What was
And
his topic?
His topic was about rebuilding. He spoke from a personal perspective. His party in Jamaica having lost the election in 2007, They about 2009. I can't remember clearly, but there was the JLP lost, and so he talked about putting people first, which is the People's Action Movement theme. He also went on to talk about connecting with the people and saying that if someone doesn't vote for you, you go out and you ask them, well, why didn't you vote for me? You have to engage the voter. You have to be back there. He talked about going on around Jamaica and really engaging with the people and seeing what would have been the disconnect. You understand the reasons. They said at the point in time they would view the JLP as arrogant and those kind of things, out of touch with the people. And so they went back. And so after that, in 2016, they won and they're currently in government. So it was a thing to say, look at me.
Yeah,
we
it
did
definitely
it. We can show you,
theme. Yeah, yeah.
Really wonderful.
Reflecting, then you go and you re-engage.
Yes.
All right,
and
fair
revitalize, really. And I mean, he's a young person. I've had the pleasure or the honor or the privilege to have spoken to him before the convention and even after the convention. And very down to earth, very, very chill,
How old is he?
He's 42 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's very
Definitely
chill.
young.
So it was a good experience, all in all. And of course, we welcome everyone, and the People's Action Movement is a party that is pushing forward. We're rebuilding, we're revitalizing, and we're re-engaging.
Well, good luck. I can't wait to see what you guys are bringing to the table.
Yeah, look out for us. Look out for us.
Congrats again.
You know the song, Look Out for This? The
no,
soca song.
let me hear.
Inga, soca song say, Look out for this.
Watch out for them.
Oh, maybe it's there. Okay, cool.
No, well, maybe you go ahead. Maybe you're starting something new.
I think you probably got the song right, I think, yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay.
But cool. Go ahead, maybe you're starting a new thing. We can engage somebody to write one specifically for Pam.
Yes, thank you. And the People's Labour Party is having its convention on June 17th. So we look forward to see what they're going to have as well.
June 17th. And when is PLP?
That's it, June
17th.
People's Labour Party.
I only heard Labour Party. That's what it was.
I think the Labour Party had theirs already.
Yeah, they had theirs.
And I didn't even know, I only saw something on Facebook. I was like,
they had their 91st in May. I think May 31st, they had their 91st convention. And they elected...
91st, wow.
Yeah, they elected a new chairwoman, Diana Humphrey Williams. Yeah.
Okay, right. Maybe that's how come I saw it, because somebody was saying something about her.
Okay, yeah.
PLP, huh?
Okay. PLP is next. Let's see what they bring.
Well, June month is busy. It's hot and busy.
PLP's 10 toes down. We ain't going nowhere.
The People's Action Movement is here to stay as well.
Let's take a call. Island T, you're on the air.
Good morning to you guys.
Hey, good morning.
Especially to Azard.
Good morning.
Azard, how's the morning after?
It's good. I am in good energy. I am revitalized.
He's basking. He's basking in the afterglow.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. There are many interpretations to your guest speaker.
Tell us. I want to hear what you think. I want to hear it.
First of all, it was interesting that he noted that the JLP was about the only conservative party in the region. Okay?
In government. I think that's what he said.
So I wondered what your take was on his attempt to rebrand or brand the People's Action Movement as a conservative party.
Well, I think if you go back to the history, there's a bit the People's Action Movement is seen as a conservative party. We have sister parties within the region. We are part of the conservative movement. We have a whole movement and a whole, we have persons. We are part of the movement in the UK and stuff like that.
And
so we associated.
And you are comfortable with that?
I mean, that's the history, Mr. McMahon.
I know it's the history.
That's the history.
I know it's the history.
We can't rewrite history now, can we?
In 2023, are you comfortable with that?
What's wrong with it? You tell me.
You tell me. Thing, because again, going back to what the guest speaker said.
Yes.
He said that it's not it's an anomaly that you have a Labour Party that is conservative, because generally the conservative, it's just like in England, where you have Labour and Conservative, just like in the States, where essentially you have Republican and Democrat. They are normally split on the ideological line, okay? And generally speaking, and he kind of defined it, he said that conservatives are about making the pie larger. And generally speaking, that is true, okay? But the thing is, they're not good at sharing the pie. And that is where the problem normally comes in, okay? Because they basically go with the mantra that this rising tide lifts all boats, when in fact what normally happens is that the rich get richer and the poor poorer.
I think
Right?
when
And
it
so
comes to the
I know
conservatives,
that Pam has been good at leveling the wealth in a lot of cases. So him trying to label Pam as a conservative, I'm not so sure
but
that should have flown. Although again, Pam generally take the side of those who, I guess because of the ideology,
but
anti-worker.
Mr. McMahon,
Yeah.
you would agree with me, would you not, that even though a party might be traditionally conservative or may identify to be conservative, there's no party that encapsulate holistically 100% could be called a conservative party, because they're going to be some sort of I want to say
especially in the Caribbean milieu. You know,
on the spectrum, on the scale isn't 100% conservative. You know what I mean?
And it's not.
There's little other values.
There's room for flexibility, adaptation.
I agree, but you see, conservatism or conservative policies have real consequences. I can think, for instance, of the stance with the black liberation struggles in Africa, etc. Why? How come it's only conservative parties essentially back the oppressors?
I mean,
And
Mr.
it's
McMahon, you have to
normally
look
the
at.
left-wing parties,
Before we go into
the
that,
left-wing parties,
because you're talking about black movement and everything like that. Of course, context is everything. Of course, you wouldn't expect us being of black heritage to support something like that. So you have to put it in context. Let's look at the context here and say.
Come on now, Ira. Come on
also,
now.
what he's
mentioning,
he's mentioning a lot about the economy as well.
The fact is, the conservative parties normally supported the ideas of, let's say, Ronald Reagan, who was for the most part oppressive. You see, you can't hide from your history, and that is why I said I would have thought somebody might have pushed back on the attempt to brand.
But in all
Pam
fairness,
as a conservative,
Mr. McMahon, when he made the plug about conservative, and he made the example, and he gave the example, he talked about it from an economic standpoint. He spoke about, as you said, making the pie larger. You understand? Rather than having a small pie to share between 50 people, why not make the pie bigger? And so persons could get bigger slices. He spoke about not only giving a man a fish,
but in reality,
teaching him how to
people
fish.
still complain.
So who would still complain?
And that's the whole point. But you see, too, right? You have to remember that it's all a matter of convenience.
But Mr. McMahon, let me say this too, because you have brought in so many things as it relates to it, and you went very wide. You went over into Africa. You traveled there, and you talk about black.
Because he was talking philosophy, he was talking ideology.
Yes, but let's look at it this way. When we come to the debate about even the Republican debate, many persons are saying, "Oh, we should stay with England. We should stay with the monarch." But if we are going to look at the history and what has been done, then why do so many people support? What I'm trying to say, and some people might support the monarch not because of the past, but because they feel as though there's some comfort and there's some
Familiarity.
Yes. So, I mean, it is to say... and
They're not fully emancipated.
Yes. And then the others might say that it's not fully emancipated. The point I'm trying to bring is that if you support one thing or you support one thing, it doesn't mean that you support everything in totality.
Everything.
You understand?
So you don't support it to the exclusion of everything else.
Yeah.
Right? And which leads me to your start off with what was happening in the state. With all the Republican Democratic debacle, and although we might scoff at the Republicans, right, and the candidates, in the final analysis, it's still the top country in the world. So we should be careful when we're bashing them. Somehow the American system always ends up. It might be messy and so on, and combative and so on.
It ends
but
up self-correcting.
Always ends up producing the best in the final analysis. So
They
I would say
also
that.
are big believers in saying what they believe, though. Their speech is free there. So I wouldn't even say it as us bashing them. I would see it as us embracing the same values that they embrace. They say what they want. They say what they believe. Speech is free. And the same thing applies here.
I co-sign.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and one other thing, the guest speaker, I suppose he was briefed. He came up with some very controversial statements, like, for instance, the bone in the rice, pepper in the soup.
I saw someone on the chat saying that.
I mean, controversial, but
I think it was kind of out of place.
Why? Tell us.
Why?
Honestly. Because there's no evidence of that having actually been said like that, and even if there was, that would have been pre 1960 or
but
something like that.
You just went on.
What call does that have to do?
You just went on and talk about
2023
conservative
convention?
movement. You talk about conservative movement, and you went way back. So he can go and speak about a statement that went way back.
Even no. I went way back.
I was really tossing claymores this morning, man.
It affects us now. It is the same kind of mentality that affects us now. But what I'm saying is, with this particular thing, it's something that is divisive, that is controversial, and really should not be in a place in a convention which is welcoming all.
I mean, him saying that in a statement, how does that not welcome everyone? I'm missing it.
Yeah, but Azard, you live here.
But
Yeah.
wait,
You know
hold
who
on.
that was
We
intended.
welcome all the PLP
You know
mantra.
that was intended to rile up Labour supporters, because the statement was attributed to a national hero of all things, So, that is why it was so out of place.
Mr. McMahon, weren't you aware that Pam embraced conservatism based on their history? Because that's one of the first things that's one of the first things I learned. I had a friend, I have a friend who is deeply rooted in Pam, and he drills this into my head all the time. And we often have a back and forth. Yeah, we often have a back and forth about it, because I'm saying, are you guys, and I asked him the same question you asked him, is this something that you want to embrace wholeheartedly? But then, having met Dr. Simmons, and I had 2 interviews with him, some of the policies that he brought into play were mainly for the masses, and
they were
necessarily
practical policies.
Right.
Of course, they were really practical, sound policies. Okay, but that does not, for one thing, that does not absolve us from the fact that the genesis of PAM, it doesn't have that history of struggle like, let's say, the Labour Party.
But
okay?
The genesis
it doesn't.
Okay, Ira.
If you remember how it started, as I could give you the history over electricity rates, whereby they were paying for the
Okay, Ira, it's 8:30. We're gonna have to end this because we have you can always call back. We have lots of time.
After traffic talk?
Call back after traffic talk, Mr. McMahon.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your contribution.
Okay.
when it comes to the important things in life: your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider. Only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Be careful on the road. Don't make it an episode. Attention all drivers. I'm begging you to slow it down. Many stunt drivers on the road, man. When the fire day, driver, what's your emergency? It's better late than never. So why all the hurry? Speeding is the main cause.
It's 8:32 and it's time for Traffic Talk, brought to you by Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Hey guys.
Good morning,
Good morning.
ladies. Jamsa, we have 2 young ladies in here today.
Yes.
Welcome. The more the merrier. So tell us, ladies, what are we here to talk about today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Candisie and Azard,
Yes.
and also Jams and the listening audience.
Yes.
This morning we'll be talking about driving under influence. DUI, or you can say DWI, driving while intoxicated. Road users who are impaired by alcohol, who are impaired by alcohol have a significantly high risk of being involved in crash. Road traffic crashes are a major source of injury, disability, and death. Road users who are impaired by alcohol have a significantly higher risk of being involved in crash. Driving under the influence of alcohol is a significant public health problem that affects not only the alcohol user, but also innocent parties such as passengers and pedestrians. Getting behind the wheel of a vehicle, car, truck, motorcycle, or any other motorized vehicle after consuming alcohol is a serious crime. And as I said, drinking and driving is sometimes called driving under the influence of alcohol or driving while intoxicated. Even a small amount of alcohol can lead to harmful situations. So if you think you just drink you consume a little amount of alcohol, it can lead to crashes as well, because maybe you cannot drink and you just drink a little. So it's not drinking a lot, but somebody drink a little and it can impair your judgment.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And there are some conditions that drivers could charge for while driving impairment. So I'll have the inspector now talk on some of them.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
As the sergeant spoke of driving under the influence, well, we'll concentrate on 4 conditions of driving impairment. And of course, she spoke of alcohol. We all know that driving under the influence of alcohol tends to modify the driver's behavior, your maneuver. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it is done faster, it is done slow, because your vision will be blurry. Sometimes you find a driver might brake sudden, or he might swerve swerve from side to side, and in one of the swerve, he might just go straight off the road and cause serious accident. Also, we would deal with drugs and medicine. You know, some of the time we buy drugs over the counter and we are not feeling well, and we take the drugs and we would feel like, okay, in the next 5 to 10 minutes I'll be okay, and we start to drive. Suddenly we tend to get blocked out and you don't have a recollection of what happened. All right, also, sometimes we go to party and we feel like, oh man, I'm okay, and you're sleepy. So this is driving while you're fatigued. You're sleepy, and you say, man, I just live over there. I could drive home, and you know, once your body is deprived of sleep, you know what that can happen to you. Your body will be affected, and you tend to fall asleep quickly, and you're not just gonna injure yourself, but other road users. Also, one of our major condition is distractions. We sometimes drive and we're there texting and we're not paying attention to what is going on. Sometimes we ladies, we like to know, my makeup in, properly, and we looking in the mirror, and we tense. By the time we look up, bam, we into the rear of somebody's vehicle. So those are the 4 impaired that we dealt with today.
Wow. What about the other distraction? Because like people have this flashing type of light thing that they're doing now, which is very annoying. Like a blue light, or like sometimes they're coming towards you, and the light is this kind of in and out, flashing light, when it should be like just a regular light or indicator.
That is an unauthorized light. The drivers or owners of vehicle normally put these lights, and we already spoke of it before. It's an offense. It's unauthorized, because to me personally, I don't study with those lights, especially because you don't know. They give mixed signal.
It's distracting. Because sometimes you like flashing somebody to tell them something is okay, or come ahead, or just to say hi. But this one going all the time, and it's coming towards you in a dimly lit area.
And that's why you have to focus on what you're doing, because even though they're telling you, some of the time the drivers take up the space and cause accidents.
Do you guys do breathalyzer tests? Do we have that facility here for the DUI?
We have a breathalyzer, but the law for that was never being enacted.
Hope the AG is listening today.
Yeah, I did hear that before. So
So what is the limit? Was the driving driving under the influence of alcohol was the limit?
Yes, for driving under the prescribed limit for driving under alcohol, the alcohol is 80 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliter of blood.
I'm trying to figure out what that equates to in terms of a drink, because I know a lot of people be driving under the influence of alcohol, because sometimes you could tell, and I don't want to like put a cast the net that wide, but you can see when somebody's driving under the influence of alcohol or something else, because like you said, they're swerving, and usually I'm like, all right, let me give them a little extra 10 feet, because you never know if they might stop abruptly or they swerve off and they flip, because I always have this image like, okay, it's going to flip and it's going to come back my way. So I give them extra space. But you can tell when somebody's not focused or under the influence.
Do you guys keep records, separate statistics for persons who present with, DUI?
We have, but I don't have it here. And then the thing is,
I just wondered if you did.
If you get in an accident, even if you didn't drive and you're suspected of being, and you're in charge of the vehicle, you don't have to drive off. You can be behind the wheel. You can be charged once. You can make sure that person is drunk. You don't have to drive off as long as you're behind the steering wheel and have the keys. You're being in charge of that. So what we usually do, as the inspector say, we don't have the breathalyzer. So we take that person to the hospital to do the blood. But you must get permission from the person. They have to sign a permission form. And if they fail to do so, they can still be charged for it. Because remember, it's not just smelling the breath. The way how the person talk and how they walk. You can tell that someone is drunk by the way how they walk.
Do you guys do the walk test? That I know they
Right,
do
the
in
line,
US?
right?
Yeah.
No, but if you're talking to somebody and they're staggering, or, you know, okay, I'm asking Candy a question and the way how she's talking,
Kinda
she's
slurred.
repeating herself and her speech is slow and them things. You can tell, and even smelling the alcohol.
Well, let me ask, what's the practical, what would legislation to use the breathalyzer? I mean, if you have the equipment and you can't use it, what would be the practical effect of the? And I'm just trying to understand, because my thing is, if you can basically look at someone and say, anecdotally, hey, that person is drunk. So why can't you practically use the machine and know for a fact that they're drunk, whether it's the equipment is covered by legislation or not? I'm not really understanding how that
Because
works.
if it's not covered, then you can't really use
You
it
can
in
put
court.
it in court, right?
Yeah, but then isn't your anecdotal testimony as a police officer admissible in court? So why not the machine? I don't understand. Doesn't
Remember
make
when
sense
you
to me.
take a statement, the person still have to sign off?
Okay, all right. No, I'm just asking the question.
And it's just
Trying
that we
to
have
answer.
lawyers here.
You know, guys,
Trying
I've
to
been
answer.
silent because I actually have a matter that might be before the court in relation to a client. So yes,
Okay.
yeah, so
Can't
yeah.
win with these lawyers, Sophie.
I know.
Ask the question, we try to answer, still getting licks. Wow. Let's take on another one, the drug and medication. I actually like that one, right? Because sometimes they tell you may impair judgment, don't drive, blah, blah, blah. And people just be like, whatever, man, that week, and you could see it when they're driving. Because sometimes and I know because I take medication sometimes that will make you drowsy. And I will tell my sisters, I was like, yeah, I can't drop anybody anywhere because I have meds in my system. Because it does. Sometimes you're seeing blurry. You think, it's just right around the corner there. And then in 5 minutes, you're out cold. So imagine if you were behind the wheel.
I know.
I think people need to give a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for?
Grace?
No,
No?
thought and emphasis on that.
You guys have some calls coming in, so let's take these traffic talk. It's 8:43. Okay, let's go to the next line. Traffic talk, you're on the air. Okay. So apparently we talk too
Somebody's
much.
asking if does it call for doctor's evidence for a conviction? So if you take the blood, what's the procedure if you take blood?
Okay, let's take the call before they hang up. Caller, traffic
Hello,
talk,
good
you're on.
Yes, Jam, good morning.
Hey.
Azard, my boy.
Good morning. How you doing? You good?
From the mic.
Say again?
The lady there, the traffic, my good friend. The country give up an eye, you know. We need to make this thing private. Because all right, you're talking about, you see daily in basket. And we know a lot of lives could have saved because of that. I give up with you, the traffic department. You ain't seen the enforcement on the road at all. In 2023, we should have been followed. The guy at Boardwalk, he said it. And I've been looking at it all the time. Because I was denied the benefit of the doubt. Even with this young commissioner, man seeing him, man seeing the colors, man seeing the improvement yet on the ground, still trying to assess him. You all got to get real with the traffic. It's dangerous. No jump, you know Liverpool Road. You know you gotta when you come across Liverpool Road by Lucky's and Ashbury's, you gotta go left and go around the clock. Somebody done dead right down there. And the plane may reach there. We don't want it. But it will happen. Because you ain't seen the enforcement on the road. Young man take over the force. And you ain't see. Have a good day, you hear?
Thank you, caller.
For your call.
Thank you for your contribution.
Okay, Sophie, you were making a point earlier. I don't know if you just before the call.
I was asking about
Yeah.
the blood.
If the
taken.
doctor have to...
Yeah, what is the procedure? So You pull somebody over, you suspect them of being intoxicated, driving over the limit. What would be the next step if you wanted to? Because you can't use the breathalyzer.
Right, that's why I said we take them to the hospital. There's a consent form they have to sign, or they should sign, before the blood is drawn from them. And if once they consent to that, the doctor go ahead and do it. And then they carry out whatever test, then we get the toxicology report, and we take it to, then they be charged for that. The doctor will come and give his finding or whatever, because, you know, he is the one who
drew the blood.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question. With the breathalyzer, well, this again leads to the question I asked earlier, which I didn't really get an answer. The breathalyzer, you'd have to breathe into this tube, right?
Yes.
Would you have to have the person would have to sign and say, or would the law facilitate that it's compulsory that you breathe in? I mean, I'm just trying to understand, because you go to the hospital to draw some blood, the person have to sign off on it. So would they have to sign off before blowing into the breathalyzer tube? I'm just trying to understand what is the practical what's the practical hurdle here? I'm just trying to understand. Is it that, I mean, what's the setup? Okay, let me ask it another way. In the U.S., when you are stopped, right, and you're drunk, and you have to breathe into the tube, is that like a compulsory thing? The cop makes you get out of the car and you have to breathe into the tube, or do you have to sign something first before you breathe into the tube? I don't think that's how it
but
works.
Remember, they would have legislation for it.
Exactly, but yes, so that's what I'm asking. Guys, I'm not attacking y'all.
No,
I'm just trying to
ahead.
I'm just trying to understand the breathalyzer. So would the legislation that you guys are awaiting, would it say, well, you have to breathe into the tube if the officer reasonably thinks that you're intoxicated? Is that what is supposed to happen?
Well, as my good friend Candy indicated, there's no laws to the breathalyzer, so I cannot comment on that until everything is put into place.
Okay.
Full circle.
Okay. I just thought it was a reasonable question.
But the thing is, I feel like you're asking them to see into the future, because how could they answer?
No, because they said that you take someone to the hospital and
that's what we have in place now. But if the breathalyzer law is not in place, then how can they answer that?
Yes, but because of what you said about the hospital, I was just wondering, I was curious as to, is it that the law is going to make it compulsory, or you have to have a law which says, okay, the person will have to sign before they breathe into the tube?
I'm looking at the
Act. That's what I was asking.
I'm looking at the Road and Traffic Act, is section 40.
Yes.
I realize he's like totally silent, right? I'm like, what's happening?
I'm looking at the Act because Johnson has some pertinent question, and again, I have a matter that's before in relation to something like this.
So did you be zoned in then?
Okay, let's take a call. Traffic Talk, you're on the, let's take this call. Easy.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Calling concerning traffic obstruction on Kayan Street between Pines Avenue and I think it's Tibo Avenue. We have that medical facility there. I see you know now there's some crossing area there where children are being crossed over now to the I think is the either the Friends Institute or something like that where the Irish
the Venezuelan Institute used to be there. Yes.
Yeah. There's some obstruction of traffic there, so I think traffic need to look into that, because I think somebody who's working at the medical facility always parking there.
Yes, you mean the vehicles that are always parked there, right?
Yeah. And now the traffic warden who is crossing the children, them parking her own vehicle in the same area.
Oh my!
When there's a big area at Greenlands empty. So I think we need to look into that. Thanks.
Thank you for your contribution. Interesting point. Yeah, because I often have to stop and wait, and sometimes because the warden is not necessarily there, about 10 vehicles pass before you can continue.
Let's take an
so
call.
I know what he means.
Traffic Talk.
Hello, good
Wait,
morning.
trying to get this to go through. Wait, it's here, but I'm just okay. It looks like
You lost them?
Okay, yeah. Well, not that I lost them. Maybe they
Hung up?
hung up, yeah.
All right. We have two ladies. Does anyone want to go first?
Okay, here we go again. Let's try this again.
Hello.
Traffic Talk, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're speaking about traffic distractions. And a traffic distraction could also be one that is a physical one. And I speak of the number of places where there are, I call them excavations in the road, which have not been repaired. Now, I shouldn't be calling in a traffic program about this, but since the public works does not allow us a similar opportunity, I shall use it. I'm going to make a specific reference to an excavation which is at least 2 feet wide and at least 2.5 feet long in the village of Keys. And one is on one's way to Keon. It's on the left-hand side, just before the church. This has been there for over a month. A traffic cone has been placed on it, which gets knocked over from time to time. I made the job of stopping one and measuring the depth of this hole. It's over 4 inches. And so therefore, motorists, rather than looking on the road ahead of them where they're going, they are forced all over the island when these excavations take place and then for water servicing or whatever else, to be on the lookout for these things immediately in front of them. Those contribute to traffic mishaps. And nothing is being done about them. And I often say, if these obstructions were on Church Street, they wouldn't last 3 days, much less 3 weeks, and sometimes even longer. So I encourage you to partner with your friends at the Public Works Department and insist that these cones are so long, whether it's the water and whoever is responsible. Because one of the remedies I propose is that whenever any institution, whether it be a government department or a private entity, is responsible for creating an excavation on the road, they should have to make a deposit, a cash deposit. If it is not repaired within 48 hours of whatever the problem is has been fixed, they should have to forfeit that deposit. And that is to encourage them to make good the excavation that they created. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carlo. That is noted, and I'll get on to Public Works.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your contribution. Yeah.
That was an interesting one.
Yeah. And the reason why I've been silent with this discussion, because I'm actually hearing what the officers have to say, because I said I have a matter before, so I want where we might be challenging some of the procedures.
I feel like we need to read Miranda right here.
So I'm just here listening to the responses.
Let's take another call.
Say can and will be used against you.
Let's take another call. Traffic Talk, you're on. Okay. On to the next one. Traffic Talk, you're on.
Yes, good morning, Jamsto.
Hey, what's up?
I'm good, and good morning, Miss Police, my friend.
Good morning.
Now I have a question. Every religious night in the evening, there is a motorcycle that comes from Molyneux side heading for Keyon on the Island Main Road. And whenever that motorcycle reaches down in Large Village Valley, the front wheel up in the air, whether going Keyon way or going up to Molyneux side. Pop wheeling in the evening. So I want to know, why you think he's doing that? Why you think he's doing that every night? Well, my answer to that is because he know definitely he ain't going to see no police on the road passing him, and no police going to stop him. Why he keep on doing that? So let me hear your answer to that solution. I'll listen up there. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
My answer is that he's just lawless. He's just lawless, and that's the only way I could put it, Carla.
You know, it's funny that he brought that up,
I
because
think
it's not even just in the evening. There's one that does it. Well, I shouldn't say one. It happens during the day. They like to take that strip from about Carib breweries, coming all the way down to the hospital, twice for the last week. I had to tell my staff, fall back some more, because I'm just envisioning, what if there's a pebble or something in the road that he can't foresee because he's up on his back wheel and his wheel, goes over it and it tosses the bicycle up, the motorcycle up. He's not wearing a helmet. Whoever is behind him has to now swerve, maybe swerve into traffic or crush his skull.
And this is it. When I see those instances, I think to myself, we have so many accidents with persons on bikes, and oftentimes it's because maybe of a lack of a helmet or some reckless driving. Not saying that's the case all the time, but a lot of times you see that.
We have a call. Caller, go right ahead. You're on. Hello? Okay, I guess not. Maybe
they're not hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there something on the books to cover that? I mean, other than reckless driving?
Well, it all depends. It all depends. Let's say the person get in an accident, we will deal with them accordingly, prefer the appropriate charges. Also, if persons out there see this thing and are willing to come and give a statement as well, once they are willing, we get the calls every day, but once they are willing to come and give a statement, we can also go and look for those same persons and have them prosecuted. But
Okay.
Yeah, you need the evidence.
Okay, let's take another call. Traffic Talk, you're on. Wow. We just had 2 calls in rapid succession, but
the same pop wheelie thing.
But I'm assuming there's a helmet law, right?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
The rider and the pillion rider must wear a helmet.
Okay.
Traffic
Talk, you're on here.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning.
Please be
I
brief.
just want to remind myself and everybody that the police have a right to give anybody a ticket for anything. Even if you brush a fly, they can give you a ticket. But there are those who what they call soft targets, which they target you, they level a ticket against you, they come to a conclusion to themselves that you don't have the time to go to the court, so you're going to pay the ticket. So I'm writing a ticket. Police officers are human beings like us. You're moving out from a stop area and your seatbelt is not intact, they could give you a ticket. But at the same time, while you're moving off, they see you buckling up your seatbelt, come ahead and give you a ticket because you know what? You're a soft target. You park in a funny way, they give you a ticket for that. But you know what? Nobody who not having a seatbelt on momentarily have ever offended or affect anybody but the police who give him the ticket. Nobody who have ever offended or affect anybody who is parking a funny way but the police. Even with tint. People with tint don't affect anybody. But when you have somebody with motorbike up in the air, and I know how to do it, I have done it before. When you ride the motorbike and you go up on back wheel, you cannot see over the head of the motorbike anymore. You have to look to the side. So you have a blind side. The side that you look at, that you can see down the road, is eliminated by the side of which you decide to put your body on.
Yeah.
It feels nice and it looks good, but it's ridiculously scary for those who are standing around. Those to me, if the bike have on a license plate number, all you need is a number. You don't need to hold the person right now. You can fill out a warrant for the person and pick them up after. There's a lot of things police could do. Police don't have to run behind you, you know. They don't have to do a lot of things. But they choose to do that. They could give you a ticket. They could summons you. They could do a lot of things. But it still continue, and people are still scared and scary. But what it is, the police belong to us, and we are the police. They're serving us. So we have to support them in any effort and every way they could. Thank you very much to continue to educate the public, and do have a good day.
Thank you, Carlo.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's 9 o'clock. That's going to do it for Traffic Talk. We'll give you guys the last words. You might want to wrap up.
Any person who, when driving or attempting to drive, or when in charge of a motor vehicle on a road, is under the influence of drink or drive, to such an extent as to be incapable of having proper control of the vehicle shall be liable on summary conviction for a fine not exceeding $4,000 or to imprisonment with or without hard labor for a term not exceeding 4 months, and in the case of a second or subsequent conviction, either to a fine not exceeding $8,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 1 year or both such fine imprisonment.
Okay.
Sophie, I felt like you should have led with that and end with that. That 4,000 gonna hit real hard.
Just for some clarification, looking at the Road and Traffic Act, and as we look at Section 40, it speaks with drivers under the influence. Section 41 speaks to driving or being in charge with blood alcohol concentration as prescribed limit. If you go down to evidence on charge of unfitness to drive, that's 42. 43 actually speaks about the breath test. So here it says, a member of the police in uniform may require any person driving or attempting to drive a motor vehicle on a road to provide a specimen of breath for a breath test there or nearby if a member of the police has reasonable cause to suspect him or her of being under the influence of alcohol and drugs and having committed a traffic offense while the vehicle was in motion. So Section 43 actually gives you the authority. And that's why I was a bit silent, because I needed to look at the legislation.
So he's forgiven.
Yes, to ensure. And of course...
I'm always on point.
Yeah. Yes. So, and Jamsa was really sticking to that point there right away.
He was very, very
adamant. Know. And I was silent for a reason, and you might have seen me.
I kept trying to figure out, like, why isn't he saying anything? He's just in his phone.
Because I actually have
you're forgiven.
Yes. So, and then it was raised here, so, I mean, yeah.
Thank you. So
Jamsa,
to answer the question.
Got my back.
And 44 spoke about laboratory tests.
Yeah, let me go back to the...
So they are allowed to administer it based on that section.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we gotta wrap this, and I hope you guys have a great week, and see you guys next week, ladies.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Have an awesome week.
Be careful on the road.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Dalil Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Be a music festival VIP with Skelec. From May 15th to June 16th, clear your bill or make a payment of $500 or more on your arrears and stand a chance to win a VIP entry to the St. Kitts Music Festival. Skelec is giving away 2 VIP tickets for each night. In addition, one ultimate winner will win transportation to the festival and a Pamper Me package of up to $200, which can include hair, makeup, massage, manicure, or a pedicure. Drawing will be held on June 19th. Customers should not be in arrears for more than 3 months. Terms and conditions apply. Skelec, powering the community.
Switch for a better mortgage with Bond. Come and visit us today and let's discuss your future. The Bank of Nevis Limited is encouraging all customers to come to the bank that cares. Switch for an attractive low interest rate, 100% financing. Yes, you heard correct. Additionally, up to 30 years repayment available. Commitment fee waived. Legal fee waived. And any additional fees can be included within the loan. That's right. We are providing solutions at Bond Strong. Switching has never been this easy. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Special terms and conditions apply. Offer ends July 30th, 2023.
You can put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I stand on it.
It's 9:06. Island Tea continues. And coming up, we've got a segment featuring some Her Majesty's Prison. Well, I guess we should be saying His Majesty's Prison. Some inmates will be joining us, and Lincoln David Pell. I'll leave the argument about why we were saying His Majesty's prisons if we were independent. But anyway, that's for another time. Coming up at about 9:30 or so, we will have an officer from the Department of Environment, Kashif Hines. He's a conservation officer, and he'll be talking about the new drive to reduce plastic waste. No Plastic Wednesdays. No Plastic Mondays, sorry. Where did Wednesday come from? Island Tea time. It's 8 minutes after 9 o'clock, and we've got Lincoln David Pell in studio.
Full government name.
AZ.
Yes, and of
Candy.
course,
And
he's
the music.
all supposed to be joined by some inmates and
Yes.
Virgil Hunch as well. So we are waiting them to come. But while we wait for them, we could have a little discussion. It's about rehabilitation. The purpose of sentencing. Is to some of it is to deter, some of it is to prevent, and and retribution. And rehabilitation as well. So we have with us a former police officer, and we're supposed to have some inmates joining us momentarily, and we're talking about the rehabilitation process. We realize that there has been an uprising, violent crime and homicides. We realize that a lot of people are, rather than talking out problems, they want to more use objects and these kind of things, and threaten lives and livelihood. So we're talking about rehabilitation, and for persons who might be sentenced, and trying to get them back into society and back on a path that's productive. So Lincoln.
Good morning to everyone. Peace be to all. I must then let persons know who I am. I used to be a police officer for a number of years, over 10 years that is.
Okay, over 10.
And I'm also a martial artist for over 40 years.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And I believe in Jesus Christ from since birth. You put it that way.
So you don't want to tell us how much years that is, all right? I see you.
So you knew Jesus since birth.
Right. I usually tell my my taekwondo students I'm 29 million years old. Just to break the ice. But however, what I must say is that all these areas that I mentioned that I'm a part of have their different way to make sure persons, one, as opposed to get involved in crime, is to stay out of it. I will use the biblical way, which is to love yourself, right? And if you love yourself, you could love others. So it's a love others as you love yourself. If you don't want to hurt yourself, of course you wouldn't want to hurt others. The martial arts way now is to respect even your enemies. Also, the best victory you could ever get is to not get into confrontation in the first place. So it takes something. And then also one of the philosophy of the martial arts that we use a lot with the taekwondo, it takes a weak person to get into a confrontation or a fight, but it takes a strong person not to. Because the natural ability is to respond. And if you could control that respond, that's natural ability, you're a strong person. Then when you come from a policing point of view, it's talk to respect the laws. And even if you want to take it to the home, which my mother was a disciplinarian, follow instructions, obey, be respectful, be obedient. Just follow the rules. Those are some of the things not to get you in. Come back to the Bible now, because sometimes it's not so much that former convicts are not getting back into society. We as society should ask ourselves, are we really forgiving them to let them come back into society? Because sometimes that's the problem.
So you think the rehabilitation process should work both ways?
Yes, ma'am. Because, you know, I know there are persons who would come out of prison. They've been trying. And because they have a criminal record, and if we are saying that the prison should rehabilitate them, but you're not giving them a chance to prove that they were rehabilitated, and then more than likely they might fall back into something that we do not want.
Tell us what are some of the procedures that you guys have in place in the prison to rehabilitate?
Well, because I was more into the law enforcement, but however, I could say the prison have different programs that, you know, they have the drumming, they have the going out and, you know, interact with communities, let them know why, especially youth, why they should not get involved in the crime. And they have mentoring programs as well, some persons do that. And you could see the genuine change inside. And they have even school program where they, I think some persons were able to gain some sexy subjects while they were in prison.
Right, I'm familiar with that one. Right.
And that's a good thing. So, you know, sometimes we persons would say education prevents you from getting to committing crime. And if that is so, and you let them get these subjects in prison, then why prevent them from getting a job when they reach outside? However, I must then say, with that, there are persons who have all kind of PhDs and they're masterminds in committing crime. So it's not necessarily education preventing from committing crime. It boils down to the person.
Is there any form of religious teaching in the prison?
I know, as far as I know, we are a Christian society. So most of it will be based on Jesus, the principles of Jesus Christ.
So it's actually done. So there's like a chapel,
because I know back in the day they used to have certain things like that, but I cannot speak for now. But when the prison officer comes, she will be able to speak to it. But I am one of the persons who believe when we have to look back and when you have to read of the Bible, it speaks to peace even in violent time, because even Jesus tells you if someone slap you on one cheek, turn the next. Some people might take it out of context and literally turn your cheek. But I believe,
can already tilt my head watching you.
But I believe if someone come at you with violence, go to them with peace, because at the end of the day, that's what Jesus speaks about.
It kind of disarms them too.
Peace, that's it. So therefore, I know of Christianity, I know of Jesus Christ, and I know he speaks of peace. It doesn't matter what. So for me, there are some persons who may have an issue with it, but bear in mind, some of these same persons grew up in the church. But you know what? That's why when Jesus was on earth, he speak about the Antichrist is now here. In his time, he spoke and said the Antichrist is there. Because you know what anti mean, right? Against. So there were people against Christ then. And that's what he was talking about. So therefore, persons who do not believe in Christ might think what I'm saying is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Is ignorant. And, you know, but at the end of it all, persons who know of Jesus know it speaks of peace. And if you really want to have peace and rehabilitation, because the Bible speaks about how to actually rehabilitate persons when they commit crime, you know, and also how to deal with them. It speaks about if they were, back in the day, they were safe havens before a person got to trial, and if the person want to pursue them, they could stay there for a while until certain things. I mean, the Bible is there, so that is why I believe in the Bible. But some persons do not believe because unfortunately, some persons who preach the word might come across aggressive. They might come across violent and such like. And some persons want to use the Bible and say, back in the day with Christopher Columbus, but they're saying that they were conquistadors, right? But if you really study that, you will realize the kings back then realized the influence the church, Christianity had on the people. So what they did, they used military people and present them as priests. And that is how a lot of the places were conquered in the name of, but they were not actually God-fearing people. You know, so if you could go back and you study to Constantine the Great, all these things. We're not here to go into the church,
But in the
I'm just
Bible,
letting you know these
especially
things.
where David is concerned, he didn't move without consulting the priest, because the priest is who actually got the instructions from God. Because yes, God is all about love, but then there's also a time for war and conquering.
Yeah, because, you know, some persons believe that God is just a loving God, but God tells you, I'm a God of justice. And with justice, it comes certain things. But since we are here with the rehabilitation of persons, what I will want to say as well, even the scriptures mention, forgive so that you can be forgiven. So if the prisoners went to the prison system and realized, hey, I did wrong, I now want to go on the path of right. But if society, the same society who would have requests from government to present these things, still not forgiving them, still not accepting them, you realize what happened? We have a problem still.
I'm glad you said that, because what would you say are some of the things that society need to change in order to show that they're willing to accept these persons?
That's what I'm saying indirectly.
No, but like, for instance, what are some of the issues? So yes, the person comes out, and I guess the biggest one would be they're trying to get a job, but because they have a criminal record. Are there other instances other than that?
But you see, that's what the prison is all about. You would have already pay your dues in prison. And that is why I say sometimes, I've been on different programs, and I like to say, we have a society that is an unforgiving society to someone else. But when it comes to them, they want to be forgiven. Or when it comes to their loved ones, they want to be their loved ones to be forgiven. But why you can't give my son a job? He went to prison, he paid his time. But when it comes to someone else, oh, no, he did. You understand where I'm coming from? And so therefore, it is not necessarily, so to speak, the persons who will have been rehabilitated problem. And society just believe this guy did this, or this young lady did this, and I don't believe at this time they should be back into a fold. And it goes through society, and I show some simple stuff. Simple stuff. Let's say, for example, that's why I use. Let me come to this first. When I was a police officer, I used to tell persons, you know what? The police officer could be your best friend or your worst enemy. Best friend meaning if you're a law-abiding citizen, I have no reason to come and talk to you. I have no reason to come and arrest you. Your worst enemy, you break the law, especially if it is an arrestable one, I am there to enforce that law. Now, there are some offenses that give the police wide discretion whether or not to arrest you or just give you a warning right on the spot. And I'm going to give you a story to let you know how people view the police in a wrong way. And sometimes the police might actually let people believe that, because the police duty is not really to just arrest persons. Okay? I used to tell persons, hey, I listen to what they says based on what it is. Okay, Christmas come for you early. Do not do it again. And I give them a reason why. Do you want to get a criminal record and then you cannot travel, you cannot get a job? Because I know these things. No, sir. I said, well, okay. I forgive you. Do not do it again. And based on if someone did this, come and apologize to the person. So you accept the apology? Yes. Do you want anything out of it? No, I appreciate the apology. Thank you, officer. Okay, so go again and tell the gentleman thank you one more time and don't do it again. And sometimes that person never get involved in anything again. Years after, they will meet me, officer, thank you very much. You know, these are the things. And so sometimes is the view people have of police officers, and even in the home, sometimes people say, police, and I'm talking about, these are some parents, will be telling children bad things about police, but yet when something happens, they do not want the police to even get involved because they see the police in a bad light. But you know what? The police is the only organization that is super, if you want to put it, super employed, have the law on their side to enforce the laws of the land. That even the Prime Minister could tell a police officer not to enforce something because he will be obstructing the justice.
Right.
Because the police is personally responsible for his or her action. And that is why they have a broad power of discretion. And so the other aspect of that is to persons to see the police in a good light, not just to arrest people, but also to counsel people, to talk with people, to let them know it is not good for you to get involved in criminal activity. And also is that the persons themselves who would have gotten themselves into issues with the law and now would have rehabilitated and exiting the prison life should also see the police officer in a good light as well. Now I'm going to give you a story to let you see how it works. When I was a police officer, I arrested a gentleman. I knew his family and I spoke with him and I told him, look, man, what you did was wrong. You make a number of persons dissatisfied with what you've done. You basically embarrass them, your parents, your friends, even me because I know you. And even yourself when you have to look at it. And I let him know everything. He started to cry. But I had my job to do. I went to court, he got arrested and everything, sentenced. But one day, this was the time when they had some prison riots and everything. And I went into the prison. He called out to be good and asking how my family and everybody doing, and I asked him. So another prisoner asked him, you know this guy? He said, yes. Well, he's a family? No, a friend? No. What he is to you? This is the man who arrested me. Are you talking to him so good? He said, yes, because he let me know. It is my fault why I'm here. So you see, it's to let people know that the police is not just there to arrest you. If you didn't commit any offense, why the police going to come and harass you? And that is why I used to tell everyone who I come across, the police could be your best friend or your worst enemy. Therefore, abide by the law, because the law is not just for other person, but for police as well. The law is not just for police, but it's there for even for the Prime Minister as well. And that is why I like to tell persons when I was in the police force, the Prime Minister cannot tell me to arrest no one because the Police Act said only the police and the ground, not even the Commissioner of Police. If you do not see what is happening, you cannot order someone to arrest somebody because you personally could be held responsible for your actions or inactions. And someone else who wants you to do or not to do could obstruct you. And therefore, I just want to get that out so persons to understand is that we have to look at things differently. So,
balance.
Yes.
Right.
Balance.
So for me, it's for society now to recognize that the persons would have been rehabilitated and they would have paid their time. And if we want them to adjust comfortably back into society, then we have to recognize that they would have paid their time and now forgive them. Because some persons do not realize they would have done their time. And the reason why it is so hard and for former inmates to really come back into society is that society still haven't forgiven them.
And we are now joined
by
Miss Virgil Hodge. I don't think I've ever
And
seen you in this getup.
She's in her uniform.
Let me just take a minute to look at it. And 3 gentlemen. So introduce yourself to our listening audience.
Yes, please. We've been waiting.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am Virgil Hodge, in capacity of rehabilitation officer at His Majesty's Prison. I have with me 3 inmates, Mr. Louis Gardner, Keith Murray.
Which one is Lois?
I'm going in order, and Alfred Duport. There are 3 out of the 4 guys who would have graduated from AVEC last November.
Congrats.
December, sorry. Yes. And that's the first time ever we would have had that accomplishment where prisoners graduated from AVEC. And I'll let them talk about their skills and what they did and how they came about even getting on that program. So we'll start with Keith. We'll start with Louis.
Right. I remember the name.
Because I'm facing him, yes.
Hi, morning to all.
Good morning, welcome.
My name is Louis Gardner. I'm currently incarcerated at Her Majesty's Prison. As Mr. Voger said, I'm one of the members who graduated.
You got to come closer to the mic.
Okay, so, we at first before graduation before I get graduated regarding the mechanical and welding I used to work at the Defense Force camp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doing little welding and mechanic, and then we got the opportunity to take courses, where we undergo courses at the AVEC, where the course was about mechanic and welding, and four of us who partake in the course successfully passed the course, and we were graduated. So I'm currently now a certified welder and a certified mechanic.
Congrats. How long was the course for?
Well, it was supposed to last probably about, I think it's 6 weeks, but it lasts more than that because through the COVID, there was some major setbacks. Yeah, so it lasts more than that. It lasts, I think, about 2 years and change. So we had a huge pause.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, the course itself was very important because it helped to put our mind in a positive direction. And it also reduced a great much like any negative thoughts and the kind of nature it is. Yeah, so I'm really proud of it.
So it was hands-on and it was theoretical and practical?
Yes, both theoretical and practical.
Okay,
yes.
That's nice.
Yeah, and so because of the course, I'm now like in a position where I could go anywhere and do certain jobs and so.
Right, because you're certified now.
Yes.
You got your papers.
Yes, and I'm also in a position to teach others as well.
Wow.
Okay, good. So you can
Teach.
even create your employment.
Yeah, especially in the welding.
Yeah, be an employer.
I do more welding. More welding. So especially in the concern. Yes.
So before being incarcerated, you did it, but you didn't have like the certification.
No, not before incarceration. While I was incarcerated, I used to work at the Defense Force.
That's when you, so that's when you started.
Yeah, we had a little mechanic and welding, and from there I went on to course.
How old are you, can I ask?
I'm 45.
Okay.
Don't look it, but.
Yeah. What about you? Could you tell us about the course and what you did?
Yours might be easier to swing.
Yeah.
Morning to all.
Morning.
Give us a bar, give thanks to Almighty God.
Yes.
And give thanks for having us here as well. My name is Keith Morel. I've been incarcerated since 2013, sometime in November.
Yeah.
Charged for a capital offense.
Yeah.
Yeah. While being there, I've been 2017, I lost my case. I lost the matter where I received life imprisonment.
Wow.
You know, at that time, it's like the future door closes on my face, you know, like I felt like there's no hope, you know. And I had a son at that time too. I have a son who was 2 years old at that time when I was incarcerated, you know. So for me, feeling like the future door closed on my face and all that, I had one big thing I used to do, honestly, to make me feel like, being a part of out there still and feel like there's hope. That was keeping in contact with my family. Yeah, so for me, I used to do that. This is how I end up on the program. I end up on the program, boy, like, I was always having phones, honestly. That's what I used to into. Phones to contact with my family was nothing bad for me. It was about contacting with my son and my family to feel some sort of, you know. Then, you know, the system had problem with me and that, you know. So one day I was called by the chief officer, Mr. Harris, who was the chief at that time. And he said to me, man, I got in a lot of problem with Joe and the phone and these things, and so you want to loan something? I say, yeah, but honestly, at that time, for me, it was like, okay, it's a sense of freedom I'm going out there. Maybe I might go get a phone out there too.
You're obsessed with phones,
because, like I said, I try to keep in contact with my family. It's like, I feel shut out. That's the only means that make me feel strong. So I used to do that. So then I reached out there and the Defense Force up the army camp. But then when I reached, I had known absolutely nothing. Not even the slightest idea what mechanical mean. Yeah, so, you know, I had to fit in somewhere. So I started washing down vehicles. That was the easiest thing for me. Washing down the commander vehicle every day, God send. Sometimes he gone overseas and I washing it down. Man, even though he gone.
You gotta get your mind in it.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
But then what kind of pull me more to, accumulating the skill and thing. You also got inmates. Man, he good. Come with the defense force now and again, the pass through. And he'll be laughing at me and say, boy, you're down here telling people you're a big mechanic and you're doing wash down. Well, it's well like a joke, you know? And one day I decided, well, I started to do some serious thinking. And my biggest fear was knowing that a chance will come for me to be a free man again. And I ain't got nothing to teach me son. Don't know what I gonna do to get my bread. I don't know. And it built a fear in me because I know, well, if me ain't develop myself, it's a high possibility of me coming back to prison.
Yeah.
Because, we go back to the same life. So I started to think serious. And you had a few inmates that were doing mechanic. One named Welcome, Chase, and Sikani. I started walking along with them guys. And I started learning a little here, a little there. Before you know it, I was doing head jobs, rebuilding engine and all. Yes. But I honestly realized that it's a God-given talent. Sometimes we don't know what we're really good at until we put in a position, So I feel like it was God, destiny to help me to find myself in that way. So we had to be peaceful.
How do you feel now about
honestly,
having that skill?
I am proud of myself. Where I sit here right now, I don't like to blow my own hand, but I'm a doctor in mechanic.
Right.
Nice,
there is nothing in mechanic I cannot do.
And it took a mental change.
Absolutely.
Which is why, let's get to you because I want to ask you a question.
Okay,
all of
wait,
you.
Let's take a break first. 9:32.
Okay.
We have to hear from our 9:30 sponsors.
Okay, then no problem.
For this depot,
Yeah, no
rounds.
problem.
So let's take a quick break.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The real gen of them drink Campari. Link up your girl with the Campari. Day or night with your Campari. Mix the pineapple, you can't run party. Campari, respect the bitter. Must be 18 years or older to drink responsibly.
Quench me thirst, I bust that time now. Watch me, I bust that smile now. Boy. Freestyle, free buster, a freestyle. Watch me a playing full color meanwhile. One leap of flavor, every one of them tries. The drink are refreshing and nice. Me tell you say a buster, me buy you with my money. This a everybody drink, I know me one love it. Have it yeah, for the kids, them daddy harmony. Buster, we playing full color. Correct, I am tea.
It's 9:33. Island Tea continues. We've got Lincoln David Pell and Virgil Hodge and some inmates from the prisons as they discuss rehabilitation and so on.
Yes. So, yeah. Could you tell us about your program and your experience?
Well, good morning to everybody. Alpha Juport.
Yeah.
Somewhat similar to that of Mr. Murray.
Mm-hmm.
You know, been in prison from 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I did some primary mechanic before being to prison, so.
Okay.
I already had an idea, but I still had to entreat the opportunity from the authorities to be a part of the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my question to you my question to you as everyone we having discussion, and let me ask you, because you guys are in for the conviction of murder. And we've had in the Federation an increase in homicides, I want to ask you, like, what was the reason as much as you could say, what would you think would have been some contributing factors that might have led you along this way? You know, some of the contributing factors in your life that might have led you to where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What made you?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, sometimes because of negative company, being around negative company, it could cause you to really encounter serious predicaments in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is the company then an
yeah,
influence?
And that doesn't mean, and being around company and something happens, that doesn't mean that you are guilty. But just because you associate
Company
yourself with a particular company,
Yeah.
your name end up called and serious consequences can come your way. Yeah, so negative people play a major role in
Do
getting.
you think there's anything that we can do in society that could possibly prevent that, help that, or is it still much of the same?
Definitely.
Of course. For example.
Go ahead.
Of course. I think that, introducing more programs to the prison, allow more prison inmates to go out there and talk to the youths in schools and so forth. That could help a great much.
So you have an opportunity now. What would you say?
Well, I would say to people out there and things is to try to stand the positive part, be around people who goal oriented, people who want to be successful in life positively, of course, and try as much as possible to avoid idle company. Try to learn as much in school, try to learn a skill, because the more you engage in positiveness, the more negative people would be scarce. They don't want to come out. They don't want to hang around you much because you occupy. You ain't got time. You ain't got time to waste. Yeah. So there's somewhat just the few.
Would you?
Help, I think
What about you, Alpha?
Yeah.
Because you said yes right away. So let's hear.
So let's hear.
As the ex-officer was saying, sometimes being reintegrated back into society, they find it hard to give you opportunity, a chance to, really show what you've done and what you've become now.
Well, let me ask you again the question, because he answered it. What would have been some of the contributing factors that would have created? Would you agree with him, or would you have other factors? Yeah.
Well, yeah, for his life, that was his answer for his life.
Yes. What about your life?
For mine, it was more of a self-defense matter.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's
what led me.
Okay.
What about you, Keith?
Well, for me personally, I do feel like the fathers out there need to be more a part of the children in life. I grew up without having a father, mother struggling. So it put me in a position where maybe I got to go out there in the streets, go hustle. And being out there, telling the kind of company you might come across, the kind of thoughts, survival.
Yeah, and you know what hit me is when you spoke about the education, you talk about your child and what would you impart on your child, and you talk about, to me, when hearing you speak, you're talking about now having the skill, you're able to see life differently.
Yes, yes.
And so it makes me think that perhaps persons, if they don't feel a part of society, then they don't want to engage in society as society ought to, the engagement.
Well, let me ask a question, Virgil. What are some of the things that you guys do in the prison as a form of rehabilitation? Because I was asking Mr. Pell, but I know that you are actually on the ground now. So what are some of the things, other than, educational courses, what are some of the other things that you guys do that you would term as rehabilitation for when they come out and they want to integrate into society?
Well, we have a whole bunch of stuff. Hopefully I could name a few. If not, then maybe the guys can help me out. We have agriculture. We have guys who are involved in construction, tailoring. We have baking. We have mentoring. We have music, the RGI band. I'm sure a lot of persons would know about the RGI band. That is actually one of our best guitarists. Yes, so he plays guitar as well. Very good musician. We have lots of stuff. Like I said construction already.
What
It's
about
a whole-
religion?
Yes.
Is there church?
We have churches coming there. Pastor Connor from the Antioch Baptist Church plays a very big role in the prison. I mean, he comes in every month with his team, and they have sessions, and so we also take prisoners to church. A matter of fact, I just took the females to church last month for the first time ever in history.
For Mother's Day?
It wasn't for Mother's Day. It was for women. I think it was International Women's Day that time. And that, Pastor Connor keep asking, can we bring the females? Because the females are not allowed to go out based on the rule book.
Yeah.
But we are trying to change that. And also make some amendments in the rule book as well, because the rule book was done years ago, of course, under the English laws. And so we have to change certain things about that where we can, because the ladies always ask, Ms. Hodge, how come we can't get the same privilege as the guys? And which is only fair.
Right.
And so even with the AVIC program, we're going to start that back up again in September. And we're going to have the guys go up there and do other stuff, whether they're going to be doing AC. They're going to add a lot more stuff to the program where the inmates can. And so we're going to involve the females
How many
as well.
females do you have?
Right now, we are, I hope I'm not wrong, maybe 6. So they're in and out.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Let me
I
ask a
could be wrong,
question. For you guys, what would you say has been the most impactful session? What session or what program has impacted you most?
Well, for me, mechanic.
Okay.
You know? Yeah, because at that time I had no skill whatsoever, like I said, and I love mechanic. Honestly, it's like I got joy doing it. I develop a sense of passion for it. You know.
What about you?
Well, for me, welding.
Welding.
Yeah.
What about you, Juport?
Mechanic, music, and basketball.
And basketball, okay then. What would you say to persons out there? Because we realize we have an increase this year in the number of homicides. What would you say to persons out there to inspire and encourage them to leave that sort of lifestyle and to, revert to peace? What would you say to them?
Well, for the people who can help themselves, you have people in positions in authority who I think should be there, putting out more time, spending more time and looking for the people, looking after the people.
What do you mean by can't help themselves? You mean young boys, young people? What do you?
Yeah, in a way. Sometimes you might need somebody to hold your hand to carry you. Instead of, because if you got to choose on your own, you're gonna be up and down.
So
mistakes.
You need a guide, someone to guide you. Mentor.
Yeah, as I say, policing shouldn't be just about locking up people. So they say they're doing police in the community or whatsoever. So that's a role the police them for the police, also for the Prime Minister as well. People out there, as I say, it's the streets and it's the hustle. If you're hungry, you're gonna do something to get yourself fed.
Okay.
What about you? Any final words that?
Well, for me personally, right, I do think it started a lot from being in prison.
Yeah.
And the reason why I consider I saw a man come prison as thief, then come back as murderers. So for me, we have a good thing going on, yes, but whatever the general public can offer to us, we're gladly to receive. We need help, honestly. We need support.
And the ones that you think will make it in there, because we're trying to avoid persons getting into prison, what would you tell them?
Well, stay positive. Look on certain other people's situation and use it as an example. You don't have to go through the same thing for you to learn.
Yeah.
Look to people's situation, use it as an example. Educate yourself. Build yourself, because when you do that, you see life on a different level. So stay in school, educate yourself as much as possible. Try to think positive. Before you go down the wrong road, seek questions from other people. That's my thing to whoever out there.
Thank you.
Because prison is nice, hard life, believe me.
I like that. It's not nice. Mr. Pell, your final words?
Well,
I think...
well,
no, you had a turn,
yes.
no?
No, he didn't say anything.
He did.
He did?
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, Lois.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Well, my message to the youngsters them out there and thing who caught up in gang violence and so, I would just like them to think about their family, their mother, their children, their relatives, and think about like how they would feel if one of them got to, God forbid, got to get jabbed out. Yeah, take that into deep consideration and try as much as possible to associate themselves with positive people. Yeah, try learn a trade, try do something positive.
Well, I'm so glad you got that in. Positive, nice.
Yeah, that's
Mr. Pell.
Yeah, Pell 10 seconds, 10 seconds.
Okay. The scriptures say a man is known by the company he keeps. Keep good company. The same thing with the martial arts. Same thing with the police. If you're in bad company, the police will take everybody when it comes to things. Try to seek employment, positive, as they say, stay active in sports, youth guidance, and so on from other persons, and remember our culture. Our culture is a culture of peace. Be creative, good creative, and have good values. Values are very important. And for the children, respect, obey, and honor your parents, which is right in the Lord, that your days may be long on the earth. And from a martial artist point of view, always avoid confrontation. Your biggest victory is not to fight in the first place.
Thank you, Pell.
Awesome. Virgil?
Virgil?
Well, yes, the guys already said enough. I just want to thank you guys for having them here. Know that they are open for anyone. Like I say, I always advertise for them. We have the best mechanic welder, we have also another mechanic here, and we just know that these guys are open to even jobs. If the person have anything that they want to do, you can contact me as well in the prison, and they are willing to do that. And of course, because they are open to collect fees, because they can go to their family members and also help them. So if anybody want any gate build or any car fix, where to reach. I mean, these guys are the best. So just to get that out there as well.
Thank you so much for joining us. I hope our listening audience took note.
Yes.
And thank you guys for being so open and frank with us.
Yeah. Of course, we could have future discussions because I think this is a pertinent issue that is happening in our society.
Yes, definitely. Have a blessed one today, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Peace be to you.
Amen. Same to you.
Magnum. Take charge, take charge, take charge, take charge, take charge. Everybody put your Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, let me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. He are a sipper, she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah. Right now a Magnum a for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Good morning. We have a special guest in the studio now. Could you introduce yourself, Kashif, and the department you represent?
All right, good morning. My name is Kashif Hines. I'm from the Department of Environment, St. Kitts. I'm a conservation officer, and it's an extremely special day for us today.
Tell us what day it is.
All right, well, it's World Environment Day, so along with this, there we have a plethora of activities that we're actually doing across the month, and we're going with the theme "Solutions to Beat Plastic Pollution," which is actually a global theme.
Solutions to beat plastic pollution.
Yes.
It's a nice ring
Yes,
to it, isn't
yes.
it? Even though it seemed like a tongue twister.
Very close to it.
Yes.
Yes, so World Environment Day is basically a day that was sponsored or created by the UN to basically create awareness and action about environmental protection. And so every year they take a specific issue and they try to bring light as well as awareness, and we try to promote and try and do a dynamic shift as best as we can with it. So plastic pollution has been like a major talking point around the world globally. Like,
yes.
You hear it every day that, you know, you want to recycle, you want to cut back on single-use plastics. We're talking about management of plastic waste and using more biodegradable material.
Right. Interesting. So today is a specific day.
Specific day. Every
What is-
June 5th
right.
is World Environment Day.
And you guys have something that you're doing specifically for today, I'm told.
Yes, today we're actually doing what we call No Plastic Mondays. So we've partnered with the 5 major supermarkets, and what is going to happen is that there will be no plastic bags available in the supermarket.
Tell us who these 5 major supermarkets are.
So we have Rams, Kumar, Best
Okay.
Buy. We have Value Mart.
I know Kumar and Rams, for instance, they both give these biodegradable bags.
Yes.
So if I'm going to the supermarket today, I have to remember to walk with one of them because no plastic bags available.
No plastic bags. So yes, you have your reusable bags or your biodegradable bags. So some people should already have at home. So
Yes.
we encourage you to walk with it. And if you don't have at home, the supermarkets will be providing them at a cost, of course.
I was just about to say, they're free.
Yes.
At a cost. So walk with your biodegradable bags, guys.
Yeah,
Or hold it in your hand, right?
I don't think
So
I
tell
don't
us.
even think I have a biodegradable bag.
Well, today's your opportunity to purchase
Today
one
is the
because,
day to
as it
What's the
says,
price?
So there'll be different price points for different supermarkets. I see Rams has already put out stuff on social media saying it's $2.50 for
Oh
them.
yes, I see some things advertising now. You talk about that.
So tell me a little bit more about this. Why do you guys feel that now is the perfect time, and is this going to be an ongoing trend?
Okay, so we have been working on a ban on single-use plastics for a few years now, and recently it has been accepted in cabinet. So the purpose of this, going along with the theme for World Environment Day, is to try and attempt that type of shift today. So we're trying to get people accustomed to going to the supermarket and realizing, well, I have to walk with my own bag, or I have to purchase it, or hold it in your hand, put it in your vehicle if you're driving. I mean, so we are trying to just make everybody go through the transition, you know? So it is not only for one single day, so it's every Monday for the rest of the month, because even though it's World Environment Day, we are celebrating Environment Month locally.
Okay.
So we have a plethora of like activities along with that. But every Monday for the month of June, there will be no plastic bags being sold in the supermarkets. So that also, what we're trying to do, that also means we want to push a little bit more and do it in July as well, hopefully.
Okay.
So.
Okay, and I guess the more you do it, the more persons will get used to it, and you know,
Is this the
embrace.
first type of no plastic campaign you guys have had?
This would be the first large one that we have where we collaborated with all the major supermarkets like that.
What do you think accounts for the fact that St. Kitts Nevis has been a laggard compared to some of the other islands with this kind of stuff?
So there's no one shoe that fits all method for this, and we have to look at various social and economic dynamics. And so we have to prepare our people in a certain way. We didn't just get up overnight and say, oh, let's just ban single-use plastics.
Right.
We had to figure out what we're banning, how we're banning it, and how do we incorporate the general public, manufacturers, and, of course, the industrial situation into it. And so it took us a while to basically find the right program that we are now trying to push out. And so, again, other countries, would have done it and done it successfully, and we would have had to take our feedback. And we've been to cabinet quite a few times, actually, because we just wanted to get it right, because it's a cultural shift. You can't tell somebody, oh, just change your lifestyle just like that without giving them a proper reason or without assisting them along the way.
You know, in the UK in 2016, when I visited for graduation, I remember every store I went into, if you actually wanted a bag or a plastic bag in particular, you had to pay.
Correct.
Right? So it's either you walk with your bag, you put it in the bag that you had with you, or you pay. And that having to pay for the plastic bag, it rang home. Because it's like, yeah, I'm actually paying extra, and nobody wants to do that. So I like the no plastic Mondays, but it's no plastic bag Mondays.
No plastic bag Mondays.
And these are just single-use plastics?
Yes,
or?
so single-use plastics, and as the definition says, it's something that we use just once and we throw it away, so we don't normally reuse it, or it doesn't have a long lifespan. And we cannot ban all plastics completely, right? Correct? So what we're doing is we're splitting it into 3 phases. So our first phase would be styrofoam and straws. And plastic bags are technically the last part of our phase, right? Phase 3. But we are, again, just trying to get people accustomed, because, man, you see people in the supermarket and sometimes they get a bread which is already in a plastic bag that they're going to throw away. But they want to put it in another plastic bag because they're just not comfortable just holding the bread like that.
I think and it's a cultural thing too, because it's like no one should know what you went to the supermarket to buy.
But I mean, you could really see a bread.
But then also in the Caribbean, we have this like a running joke where we keep the plastic bags and we do reuse them
as
garbage bags, right? But I don't think that the amount that we keep versus the amount that we waste. Yeah.
Yes.
So what has been the public response?
So actually, we've actually started the surveys, if I remember correctly, since about 2018, and we've had largely a positive response, especially from the older populace that would say, oh, we used to use crocus bag and used to use this and that bag, but even the young persons, they're just like, oh, when is this going to happen? We want it now. I think most of the ticklish situations would come from persons that use the plastic bags on a daily, supermarkets, restaurants, and stuff like that, because they're like, what are the alternatives? Right. And so, of course, when we had that type of question, we had to find the proper alternatives and present it to them and let them know this is what we're working with. Yes. Okay,
because I'm still getting used to paper straws, so I can totally understand some of the restaurateurs and supermarkets having a bit of an aversion, but I do wish you well on the campaign. I think it's commendable. I like that you're starting off with Mondays, so at least it will, remain in our heads. Okay, on Mondays, there's no plastic bag in any of the supermarkets.
Correct.
So I need to walk with my own.
When are we
my biodegradable bag.
When are we gonna see the move on styrofoam? I know Antigua did that since the late just before 2000.
Right. So we're in the process.
They banned styrofoam in Antigua like 20 years ago.
Yes. We're in the process, and as I said, that will be our first phase. So what's going to happen is that we're going to stop the importation of styrofoam and straws. And so, again, it's coming shortly, right? I can't give an exact date, but trust me, it's coming shortly. That is our first phase, and it'll be before the year is up, and we're going to move forward with that.
Good luck on your campaign.
Okay.
Yes, all the best.
Thank you so much for visiting us today.
Guys,
remember today it's no plastic. No plastic bag? No plastic
bag Monday.
No plastic bag Monday.
And I like your theme for World Environment Day. Solutions to beat plastic pollution.
Correct.
Actually,
Solutions to beat plastic pollution.
Yes. No plastic bags today, guys.
Yes, so
hopefully it catches on.
Hopefully.
Good.
All right then. Thank you so much for coming in
no
today.
Problem at all.
No
Good.
problem. Thank you.
So we are in the early hours of World Environment Day, but we are in the dying moments of Island Tea. Get out. 2 of you, get out.
Let's go.
Say your nice goodbye. We're not taking them out. We're not going to be bullied by Spin Cycle. Thank you so much again, and good luck on your campaign. We look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
great. And have a good one too.
Yes.
And And see you guys tomorrow.
Yes. Oh, he said that nicely.
I know. After he done kick us out, too late.
No.
Too late.
We're gonna kick out the spin cycle.
a steel fist in a velvet glove.
I see.
It's blue outside?
You will see.